why did Jesus ask us to pray, hallowed be your name in the Lord's Prayer? Let's recap yesterday's sermon and bring it into application for everyday use. Well, is God, I don't know, self-centered, egoistic, or what is happening here? In the Lord's Prayer, the first request after saying, Our Father in heaven, we say the first request to God is, Hallowed be your name. We are asking God to make it so that his name or his image, the way he's perceived as, would be holy. That to us, humans, normal humans, feels, what does it even mean? Why are we asking God something that maybe we have to do in our personal lives? Because the way God is spoken about, I mean, you just have to talk about the people who represent God, right? Or you have to think about, what do people think of the Christians? Shouldn't we just act in a way that, highlights God as holy? Yes, of course, but where does that come from? It should come from the change in our heart to have God first, to see his name, his image glorified in the world. God himself is concerned about his name. It's interesting. All throughout the Bible, again and again, he puts people in charge to represent him in the world. He makes Adam and Eve, and that fails. And then he calls the patriarchs, and that fails again. And then he calls for the people of Israel to be representatives of God. And again, he wants him to be represented in the world. And that culminates with Jesus being the God man who represents God in a perfect fashion and then dies a perfect sacrifice. There's moments, one is in Exodus 34, where God calls out his own personal name. He says, Yahweh, Yahweh, a God compassionate and merciful, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love, forgiving the iniquity, and redeeming generations, blessing generation for thousands, but by no means clearing the guilt of the ones who deserve to be punished. And so there's a tension there when you think about it, right? He's kind, he's good, he's merciful, he's passionate, but he also is just. He's holy, he's perfect. So the way Jesus lives out that prayer is actually by standing in the gap between God and man, and he redeems the world, he saves the world. In John, he says, uh, right now, my soul is deeply troubled. And I would love to pray that God would take me out of this. But no, here is my prayer. Lord, glorify your name. And then the answer from God is, I have glorified it, I will glorify it again. I will glorify my name again. Well, how does God glorify his name? Through the death and resurrection of Jesus, because Jesus becomes what Exodus 34 says. He becomes the God compassionate and kind and slow to anger, forgiving the iniquity of the world, but by no means just clearing or, just glossing over evil. Jesus combines all of these, and that is holiness in essence. Holiness to us, as the song says, is Christ in me. And if we ask the Lord, I'll bridge back to the Lord's Prayer, if we ask the Lord that he would hallow his name, we're basically asking him that his true nature would be part of our nature more and more. It would become people who are obsessed with the holiness of God, that we would live good as representatives of his name, that we would be carriers of his name wherever we go. And so where churches do good things, where they, fight against poverty, where they help marriages to thrive, where, all of these things, they are an outcome of the heart that seeks the holiness of God. So when you pray, hallowed be your name, that's what you're really praying for. All right? Practical application, pray the Lord's Prayer. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful week.